Welcome back to In the Midst. Today we are focusing on marriage a little bit, and I want you to think about the things that bother you. What is it? What bothers you? If I asked you what are the top 5 things that your husband does that just drives you crazy to no end, you'd probably be able to come up with a list pretty fast. Some of these might be big things, some of them might be small things, but there's a problem with this. Does he know? Does he even know that these things bother you? Does he know how big of a deal it is to you? Do you guys fight about these things? Sometimes it is just a little thing, but it just sets us off, drives us crazy. Now it's an argument. The things that he does that drive you crazy, does this put you in a bad mood? Does it cause you to grumble and complain, maybe even resent him a little bit? What if we asked your husband the same question? Would he have a list? Would he be able to quickly give an answer? I want you to think about how long he's been doing these things, though. Has he always done them? I understand we all pick up new habits and stuff, but were these once things that were no big deal? You used to overlook them. You never wanted to correct him. You just went on. It just wasn't a big deal. Maybe he leaves his shoes by the door or the couch, or he walks in and throws his jacket on a chair. Maybe his socks never make it into the laundry hamper, okay? Whatever the thing is, if he's always done these things, at one point, you didn't care. You didn't care that you tripped over his shoes. You didn't care his jacket was on the dining room table chair instead of hanging in the coat closet. You were just happy to see him. You were just happy to have him here with you. Nothing else in the whole entire world mattered. What changed? What happened? Why is it that now his mess and his imperfections are a huge deal? Are we really letting our relationships get pushed aside? We're not enjoying each other's company. We're not happy he's home. As soon as we see him, we go, don't put that chair or don't put that jacket on that chair. Are we instantly just irritated and annoyed and pushing our marriages aside because having your jacket in the coat closet and your shoes in the bedroom is more important than just you're home from work safely? What is it that bothers you? I get it. Okay, I understand that we don't like the mess. You have enough to do without tripping over shoes and picking up another jacket. The children are probably leaving their mess for you as well. And it's just constant. The dishes are never done completely. The laundry's never done. There's another meal to cook. There's somebody dropped something on the floor again. But your husband is not just another child, okay? And our kids, we are supposed to be teaching and training to pick up after themselves, and they can help and all this stuff. So, it really is just leaving his shoes by the door. It really is just dropping his jacket on that chair when he walks in. It didn't bother you before. So do not get lost in it's just more mess and he doesn't care and he just creates mess. This is something he's always done and it was never a problem before. It's habit for him now. He might not even know that it bothers you. Have you nicely said, I know you're used to just dropping your jacket right there on the chair, but it just feels like it's a little much for me. Can you just hang it over there? Just put it on the rack or put it in the coat closet or whatever it is. Have you nicely asked? Or when he walks in and he drops his jacket and kicks off his shoes and he walks to the bedroom, you're walking over here right after him and snatching the jacket up and throwing the shoes in the closet and making a mess because, the louder you walk and the more you huff and puff, then he's going to know you're mad. It's not how this works, okay? That's not a meek and quiet spirit. That is not doing these things in love. It's not being a good example to your children, okay? It's just a jacket. We have to put these things back in perspective. I don't know why I keep using the jacket analogy. My husband doesn't do this, but it's something small, okay, that I want you to see that it's really not a big deal. What if you just picked up his shoes again without complaining this time? We teach our kids to pick up after themselves. So it's one less thing that you have to do. Teach them to help you with the chores. So it's the housework is a little more split up. You married your husband with his habits, with his mess, Why do you want to change them now? I understand some changes need to occur and all changes are not bad and all of that. Okay, I'm not saying that none of us should ever change. That's fine. But, you know, can you wait? But this has, you know, you've been together 5 years and now all of a sudden it's a problem. So just refocus, find joy in him coming home, find joy in taking care of him, because picking up his shoes and his jacket, yeah, that is taking care of him. And I understand a lot of us have been taught and raised, and from the world we hear, I'm not his mom, I shouldn't have to do that. He's a grown man, he can do this for himself. I'm not cleaning up after him. I understand where you're coming from, but I also say that it's not gonna hurt, okay? No, most of us are happier to pick up our kids' clothes than we are our husband's clothes, as if our kids are somehow less capable. And so then we let our husband become the object of our frustration rather than the fact that there's just a mess, okay? I don't know if this is like quite getting through the way that I want it to, so I'm just, hang on, okay? I'm trying. Maybe you're making a big deal out of something that's not such a big deal. I want to encourage you to just refocus. Like I said, look at the man you married and remember why you married him. Remember why you said yes. Remember how you used to be so excited that he was coming home, that you had date night, that you got to see him again. Look at him as your husband, your best friend, rather than another annoyance, rather than just seeing his flaws and imperfections. You wouldn't want him to see you that way. You wouldn't want him to treat you that way, okay? So remember to treat others how you want to be treated. And he is your other half. You are his helpmeet, okay? I'm not saying that you have to be a servant and a slave and blah, blah, blah. Do not take this to the far left and take any of this out of context. But just remember the excitement and the butterflies you had when you just got to be with him. We have to get back to that, okay? The longer we're married, that doesn't have to go away. That should always be there. Sometimes we have to work for it, but we should have that. Put your marriage first rather than just wanting to win the argument, rather than just wanting him to put up his shoes and jacket, okay? Just focus on him. In 30 years, when the kids are grown, the house is quiet, it's just you and your husband and everything's clean, hopefully you're going to look back and laugh at these little things. You'll see how silly it was to argue over this. Seek to create a marriage that lasts, is built on Christ, and on love. If not, you can have the opposite. Everything that we do is built on the law of sowing and reaping, right? So you can fight now, you can sow for the immaculate house. Everyone to be trained to put their things away, and in 30 years, you can be alone at the kitchen table because you tore your marriage down. I'm not saying that asking your husband is going to cause him to divorce you and not talk to you. But if that's our only focus, is everything being perfect and everyone being quiet and everyone doing for themselves and the less I have to do, the better, then that's not what we're trying to build here. Choose love and choose your marriage. Choose what is important. We all have things that we can complain about ourselves, about our husbands, about our kids, about our home, our neighborhood, the cars, all those things. None of us have a perfect home. We're not married to perfect men, but we must remember that we also are not perfect women. We're not perfect moms. We're not perfect housekeepers. Our husbands have things to complain about us as well. We just don't ever want to hear it. Okay, they don't want to hear it either. You can do this in love. We have a choice on how we respond to the annoyances. Yes, the annoyances are there. But if we have a resentful spirit and we're huffing and puffing and slamming doors and arguing and throwing shoes into the back of the closet and having these hateful thoughts in our mind about how our husbands are just so inconsiderate, they don't care about us and they're so lazy, that's not building love. That's not building a marriage, okay? The things that you think and feel in your heart, if you're not taking them to the captivity of Christ and letting your mind be renewed and your spirit be renewed, if you're not using that Philippians 4:8 filter, then all the stuff going on in here is going to flow out and you are going to be bitter and resentful and hateful, and no one wants that. That's not the temperature of the home that you should be striving for, okay? Start with this, Ephesians 4:32, and be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. Let your marriage be built on that. Look at everything through that. Be kind, tender-hearted, forgiving. Why? Because that's what Christ has done for us. So stay in the Word, stay close to the shepherd, and let Him lead you in paths of righteousness.